Danny, your thoughts on the performance?
Yeah, good. I think it's always a lot of cliches come out when you play against 10 men, and I think actually it made things more comfortable for us. I don't really buy into that. It's hard to play against 10 men. I think it doesn't make it really easy, but you'd rather play against 10 than 11. So obviously I think Paul McCallum might be kicking himself, because after that you're dealing with one really strong National League forward as opposed to two. But then they've still got big threats. They've still got big threats all over, and I think it was more about what we did, without sounding too much like a broken record. It's like about what we did after that. We could have sort of taken the mick a bit and tried silly tricks and flicks and just carried on with a 1-0. But we tried to put them to the sword. It was frustrating at times, because we probably could have scored a few more before we actually did get the second. The ruthlessness, I thought, was really good. I thought we defended really well, especially the two centre halves. Even though with 10 men people could say it's easy, it's not easy. It's easier, but it's not easy. Disappointing not to keep the clean sheet, but to come down to Eastleigh, a tough place to come. 3 really, really big points, especially when you look at the other results.
They had 2 big chances before Chesterfield scored as well.
Yep.
Scott Quigley and Paul McCallum themselves, I didn't. So he called upon Harry Tyler at the right moment.
Yeah, someone just said to me that they couldn't really pick a man of the match, which A is credit to all the players and their performances today, but B is also a mention of the goalkeeper, because at 0-0 that goes 1-0. Maybe Paul McCallum doesn't lose his temper and keeps his calm and stays on the pitch, and it's a longer day. That's football. That's why, my old phrase, the speed bumps one. It's all speed bumps you've got to overcome, and today was overcoming 2 powerful National League forwards. It was one for the second half, and then dealing with maybe an expectation that you just go and win the game, and the boys dealt with that expectation really well. Shame, like I say, about the penalty near the end, but you get in, see the other scores, so you're 19 points clear, is it? And that's a cracking return at this stage. So the boys will put the feet up, nice relaxed evening, and then all focus on Dagenham.
There wasn't a boatload of chances in the first half for Chesterfield in particular, but clinical when it mattered. A lovely ball from Grigg to bury in, and what a strike again from young James Berry. I mean, how much is he showing that he's improving as a youngster and going forward as the season goes on?
Yeah, listen, the world works in mysterious ways. No one wanted Ryan Coldcroft to get a bad injury. He's got it, and that's probably led to James getting a bit more game time than he would have otherwise, So sometimes things happen for a reason. We can't wait for Ryan to get back, and I'm sure he'll be breathing down James's neck to get that left side space back to his own. But that's the thing about this season, Paul. No position is anyone's own, as you've told everyone. Everyone's got to expect that from one game to the next they could be the one on the bench, or not even on the bench. So James Berry's taken his chance. He's given the gaffer and us food for thought about when picking teams, but all over I thought the players were excellent. I thought they were so calm. I thought they were disciplined in their, not just with their tackles and behaviour. I thought the referee had a good game, but I thought we were very respectful to the decisions being made, and there was no petulance, and even without the ball I thought our discipline was good, even with 10 men against us. There wasn't players going here, there and everywhere just to try and do their thing. We kept our shape, kept trying to grind them down, and eventually we did.
A couple of things from the rest point of view. How did you view the challenge on Tom Naylor from Paul McCallum?
Do you know what? It's the old, I'm not just saying this to get out of jail card, but from there I couldn't really see it. All I do know is that Tom doesn't roll around. He's not one of them. I've got a lot of time for Macca, so I'm not going to throw him into the bus. But I know he's got a bit of grit about him, but I don't know. Listen, until you see it again, and I'm sure Richard, their manager, will have a lot more to say on that. But you have to go with it. Like I keep saying, I think you mentioned me last week about the sympathy for clubs like Southend and things like that. I think no one has sympathy for us if we get red cards or have troubles off the pitch. So we have to be ruthless. We have to be quite cold at this time and keep sort of putting teams to bed. And if they want to make mistakes, they'll make mistakes, knowing that they're going to get punished from us.
How did you find the penalty though? It looked a bit soft from where we were.
Yeah, maybe it's very hard for me in one breath to say the ref had a good game and then go apart from the penalty decision. But listen, you've seen him give him, you've seen him have him. I think Langston nearly threw Mandy over the barriers, didn't he? And didn't get anything. So maybe it's a similar one. I don't know. Like I always say to you, mate, it's a lot easier to be less bitter when you just won 3-1 away from home.
And the final 2 goals, really clinical. It's what the side was really searching for in the second half, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think it was probably more times actually that we probably could have had a few more efforts on target. Quiggs was just so really close from getting his main bit of his boot, apart from his stud on that one across the goal, and worked a corner. He got it into his feet and could have rolled him. Dobbs shaved the post, and you have a really good effort. So we could have some more chances, but we look back at the start, and it's a team game, and Harry Tyler makes a good save. at 0-0. And from there we built, we looked less nervous around the pitch, we grew into the game, made good decisions, and the best team won.
Did you say it was a mature performance from the team?
Good word. I'm going to steal that from you. Yeah, mature. Mature performance is the performance of a team having a really good time. And it's a performance of a team that know they're having a good time, but know that time could end any minute now if you take your foot off the gas. And that's why we're so impressed with these players this year, because they're so professional, they're grounded. They don't sulk when they've been left out. They don't get too high when they're playing and playing well. And like I say to you, come Tuesday there'll be some different players on that team sheet, and it's up to them now to go and give the managers food for thought to keep them in the team for absolutely at home next week.
It's that time of day when everybody looks at the scores, isn't it, at the end?
Yeah.
And it's 19 points clear now, and everybody must thinking, you've touched on this before, is that they're looking, Chesterfield have won again, haven't they?
Yeah, it must be a bit demoralising for them, but if I'm honest, if I'm Andy Woodman, you're more demoralised that you've lost at home. If you're Dean Brennan, you're probably more demoralised that you've given a last minute goal in the 99th minute. So I don't think those days have gone of them checking our scores, far from it. But I think that it's sort of getting your own house in order. We wouldn't look at their scores at all if we didn't think we were doing our bit. So it's up to us to be chased. It's always easier to be the chasee, if that's a word. I don't think it is, than be the chaser. We're 19 points clear, but there isn't 19 points left for the season. There's a hell of a lot more than that. So we've got to make sure we keep going. Dagenham's going to be a really tough place to go Tuesday, and we'll be doing our best to get the 3 points.